Okay, hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why only seven are there? No idea.
Sir, you said it's 1:30, so I'll join at 1:30, sir.
Oh, but afterwards I sent a link. No? I said one around 1:30. Okay, fine. Why only the seven, six are there? What happens to the? Will they join?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So what I will do? So two questions, more particularly the carbohydrate part. Okay, I will discuss about one is deoxy sugars, another one is how the dimethyl tartaric acid is obtained. So for that, what I will make this into a presentation. Okay, so one question. So how is 2,3,6 trimethyl glucose is obtained from maltose? And how this is converted into dimethyl tartaric acid? It's a 5 marks question. What we have to answer? So this is called 2, 3, trimethyl glucose. So 2 means this is the one second position, and this will be the anomeric carbon atom. What I will do. So this is second carbon atom, and this one will be the third carbon atom. So you can find that this is a methoxy, this also a methoxy. So 2, 3 dimethyl. Of course, this is a 6 carbon atom. 2, 3, 6 trimethyl glucose. This is in a ring form. And this is obtained. How it is obtained? It is obtained by maltose. How? So maltose is methylated. Maltose is methylated, and then it undergoes complete. Maltose is methylated and will use octamethyl maltose. So here you need to remove that these two things, complete hydrolysis. This one you need to remove. So what you need to add? Maltose on treatment with the dimethyl sulfate use. Maltose on treatment with the dimethyl sulfate use octamethyl maltose. So this octamethyl maltose on partial hydrolysis, only the anomeric carbon atom, gives heptamethyl maltose. This heptamethyl maltose on moderate hydrolysis gives 2, 3, 6 trimethyl glucose. So this on oxidation. So you know that this is a secondary carbon atom. This secondary carbon atom gets converted into carboxylic acid. Similarly, this is a primary one. This also gets converted into carboxylic acid. So then the obtained compound is this one is 2, this one is 3. 2, 3, dimethyl. Okay, dimethyl saccharic acid is the uh, obtained one. So this saccharic acid on oxidation. So maybe for the oxidation purpose, here one can use periodic acid. What will happen? There will be a this one will go out. So there will be a reaction between peroidic acid reaction between these two, and this carbon atom gets converted into carboxylic acid. So what you will get? This is nothing but a tartaric acid only, but it's a methylated one. So that is the reason it's called a dimethyl D plus tartaric acid. This is how the dimethyl D plus tartaric acid is obtained. One question is framed on this. So for that reason I am discussing. So for this question, what you need to answer? You need to answer that maltose undergoes methylation. Maltose on treatment with dimethyl sulfate undergoes methylation, gives octamethyl maltose. So this octamethyl maltose on partial hydrolysis gives heptamethyl. That means one methylated one is converted into free hydroxy. That is heptamethyl maltose, which on moderate hydrolysis gives 2, 3, 6 trimethyl glucose. That means this is the one. So then what will happen? So after this is an oxidation. Where it will oxidize us? It will oxidize us the anomeric carbon atom into carboxylic acid. And similarly, this methoxy group is oxidized to carboxylic acid. And the obtained one is called 2, 3 dimethyl saccharic acid. This is the one is obtained. So this on oxidation, further oxidation. So what will happen? There will be a dimethyl. So this is one methyl, this is another methyl. Dimethyl tartaric acid is obtained. So this much you can write for the 4 marks question. It was asked in 2017 Bangalore University, Bangalore City University. So with this, I will go to the next question. So that is write a note on deoxy sugars. So deoxy sugars means, so there will be a less of one one or two hydroxy group. So this is about the deoxy sugars. So that means deoxy sugars means these are sugars in which one or more hydroxyl group. These are sugars in which one or more hydroxyl groups have been replaced by hydrogen. So you can observe that this is a ribose. So here there should be a hydroxy group, but there is no hydroxy. Instead of hydroxy, there is a hydrogen. So what it means? If there is a replacement of hydroxy group in hexoses, such compounds are called hexoses or pentoses or even tetroses. If there is a replacement of OH group with hydrogen, then such compounds are called deoxy sugars. So here, for example, 2-deoxy. So for example, 2-deoxy D-ribose. 2-deoxy D-ribose. You know that D stands for dextro. Hydroxy group is towards the right is called dextro. So name of this compound is called 2-deoxy D-ribose. Similarly, name of this compound. Here you can observe that there should be a hydroxy group at the 6th position, but that hydroxy is replaced with hydrogen. So that is the reason this is called 6-dehydroxy L-ramenose. 6-deoxy L-ramenose. Similarly, you can observe that this moiety, this is a fructose. You know that. Okay, fructose means there should be a CO group on the second carbon atom. Now first check the carbon atom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct. So here there is no hydroxy group. You should make it as this as a CO. CO means this is not a alcohol. This is a ketone. So you know that in fructose, second carbon atom is the keto functional one. So that means maybe I can correct it here itself. For that I have to take a pen. pencil I can take. So there is a double bond now. This no hydroxy group. Okay. Similarly, no hydrogen group. Okay. That is the thing you need to remember. Then what will happen? So let me take a pointer. So now there is a ketone functional group at the second carbon. And what you can observe that at the sixth carbon atom, a hydroxy group is replaced with hydrogen. So that is the reason this is called 6-deoxy L-fructose. 6-deoxy L-fructose is nothing but a deoxy sugar. Similarly, you can observe Dg2s. Name of this compound is called Dg2s. Here you can observe that there is no hydroxy group. So overall, all these compounds are deoxy sugars. And one more thing, all these deoxy sugars are named systematically by configurational prefix representing the systematic asymmetric carbon atom. For example, so what I mentioned, 2-deoxy. So that means you can observe that this is not a chiral carbon atom now because both the sides, both the groups are same. And 2-deoxy D-ribose is the systematic name of this deoxy sugar. So similarly, for is 2-deoxy D-erythroramanose. Similarly, 6-deoxy L-manoxoses. So these are the systematic name for these deoxy sugars. So this is about the deoxy sugars. So for example, if there is a question on deoxy sugars, so you can mention all these points. So this is what these are the two questions pending with the carbohydrate chemistry, and I'm discussing it. Is it okay? So with this, I can go for a stereochemistry. Now tell me, is there any doubt in carbohydrate chemistry? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay. So I will go to the next chapter. It's called stereochemistry. Okay, this is the one. So stereochemistry means it is a branch of chemistry. It is a branch of chemistry which deals with three-dimensional structures of molecules. It's a branch of chemistry which deals with three-dimensional structures of molecules and their effect on physical and chemical properties. So it's a branch of chemistry which deals with the three-dimensional structure of molecules with their effect on physical and chemical properties. So under that, we'll take one concept called optical isomers. So what are optical isomers? So before going to the optical isomers, you should know about the optical activity. If you want to know about the optical activity, you should aware about the plane polarized light. So ordinary light consists of all directional, means electric field and magnetic field. They are in perpendicularly equal and opposite direction. What it means, ordinary light consists in all direction. That can be converted into a plane, one directional light by using a Nicol prism. So here the Nicol prism is a polarizer. So when ordinary light is passed through a plane Nicol prism, so you will get one directional light. So this one directional light, when it is passed through a certain compounds, okay, more particularly optically active compounds. So those optically active compound rotate the plane polarized light either right or left. So if those compounds rotate towards the right are called dextrorotatory. Those compounds rotate the plane polarized light towards the left are called levorotatory. Okay, and this phenomenon is called optical activity, and the compounds are called optical isomers. So you can observe that here I am written one molecule. Okay, so what you can observe CH3, CHOH, and COOH. So here CH3, COH, and COOH. What you can observe? Can we call these two are the mirror images? Of course, you can keep the mirror here, so both will look like a mirror images, but non-superimposable. Non-superimposable means when you are taking this moiety towards this, so that time hydroxy group will come over here. So that means both are non-superimposable. So what we can say that? So non-superimposable mirror images to each other are said to be enantiomers. So enantiomer means nothing but they are chiral compounds, but they will have a non-superimposable mirror images to each other. Non-superimposable means when this molecule is taken like this, you can observe that hydroxy group will come over here. That means non-superimposable. And of course, they are mirror images to each other. So chiral compounds which are not superimposable and mirror images to each other are said to be enantiomers. Okay, so with this, I can go to the next slide. So next slide is about prochirality. What is prochirality? So these type of molecules are called prochiral compound. Why it is prochiral? Because this can be converted into a chiral compound. How these are converted? By treating with a nucleophile. So here the Y minus is a nucleophile. And one more thing here, you can observe that nucleophile can attack from this side. It can also attack from this side. So if this is attacking from this side, you will get one enantiomer. If you are attacking from other side, you will get a other isomer. Overall, what we can
You're
say
not
that
audible, sir.
I will check. I think volume is enough only. I have given. Okay, 1 minute. What I will do, I will remove the uh, speaker and tell me whether I am audible or not. 1 minute. Okay, now tell me, I am audible. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So I will go like this. One. Fine. Now, so okay, I will take a pointer now. Right. So this one is called prochiral center. This particular carbon is called prochiral center. And this is a nucleophile. And this nucleophile can attack from this side as well as other side. If it is attacking from this side, it will give you one isomer. If this one is attacking from other side, it will give you another isomer. Overall, this is called prochiral center. This compound can be converted into chiral compounds. Okay, because of that, uh, these compounds are called prochiral compounds, and this phenomena is called prochirality. Compound which is going to be chiral are called prochiral molecule. Okay, is it okay? So with this, I will go to the next slide. Next slide will give you the elements of symmetry. So it is possible to frame a question on this, maybe for the 2 marks or maybe for the 5 marks question. So here I'm taking a rotation axis of symmetry. So it is represented as Cn. So what it means? It means that you can, just I'm taking the one example, you can observe that the name of this compound is called water. So I marked one is in pink color one, other one is the black. So when the imaginary line is passing through this oxygen, so when this is rotated, more particularly C2. So, and one more thing here, what you can observe that here I am written as a 180 degree. So 180 degree means this moiety exhibits C2 axis of symmetry. C2, how you will come to know that? Suppose a imaginary line is passing through the molecule, and when this is rotated, if it is giving a indistinguishable from the original, then such compounds exhibits rotation axis of symmetry. So this moiety shows a C2 axis. C2 axis means how you will come to know that 360 divided by 2 means it's nothing but a 180 degree centigrade. What it means? So if you are rotating this moiety in 180 degree centigrade, you will get like this. And now tell me, so both are different or same one? This moiety as well as this. Both are different or same?
Same.
Same. How it is same? Of course. So look here. Instead of pink color, what I can do here, I can make it as a A. Here I can make it as a B. Isn't it? So then this. Okay. Okay. Now. Okay. Am I audible now? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. Okay, now tell me, so this water molecule and this water molecule, both are same or different? And I mean that both are distinguishable or indistinguishable.
Indistinguishable.
Okay, I will, fine. So overall, what we can say that So this water molecule will have a C2 axis. C2 axis means when it is rotated to 180 degrees centigrade, it will give you indistinguishable one. So that if you want more clarity on this, what you can do, you mark this as a, this as a B, and this as a, and this as a B. So in this moiety, HA is coming on the left hand side, and in this moiety, HA will come over here. And okay, 1 minute. So what I will do, I will take a pencil. So this I will mark it as a A. Okay. So this will be B. So when you are do 180 degree rotation, what will happen? So here there will be a this will be a B, and this will be a A. Okay, now tell me, so both are distinguishable or indistinguishable? Hello? So tell me, these two are distinguishable or indistinguishable?
Distinguishable.
Fine. Right. So similarly, this one also, 180 degree rotation, it will give you C2 axis. C2 means 180 degree. C3 means 120 degree. So what I mean to say that a water molecule at 180 degree gives you indistinguishable compound. Similarly, what you can say that 2,1,2 dichloroethene, okay, exhibit C2 axis of symmetry, and it will give you indistinguishable compound at 180 degree rotation. Here you need to remember that C2 axis, this is called C2 axis, this is also a C2 axis, this is also a C3 axis. C2 means 180 degree rotation, C3 means 120 degree rotation. An imaginary line is passing through the compound, and it can after rotation, if the molecule is indistinguishable from the original, then such compounds exhibits rotational axis of symmetry. So with this, I will go to the next one. Next one is the plane of symmetry. So plane of symmetry means it's an imaginary line passing through the molecule, and thereby it bisects the molecule into two halves. So when an imaginary line is passing through this moiety, more particularly mesotartaric acid, you can observe that this imaginary line or a plane of symmetry bisects the molecule into two halves. So thereby, this mesotartaric acid will have a plane of symmetry, and plane of symmetry is represented as sigma. Similarly, here I am taking 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 2, 5 dimethyl furan. This is the name of this compound. 2, 5 dimethyl furan exhibits a plane of symmetry. Why? Because a line passing through this, it bisects the molecule into two halves. That is the reason these two moieties are the examples of those contain a plane of symmetry. Plane of symmetry means an imaginary line passing through the molecule and bisects the molecule into two halves. Okay, this is the plane of symmetry. And the center of symmetry. Center of symmetry means it's a line passing through the center. It's a line passing through the center and meet the identical compound. If this distance from center to identical group is same, and from center to another identical group, the length is same, means such compounds exhibit a center of symmetry. So what it means? Center of symmetry means it's an imaginary line passing through the center to meet the identical compound. Okay, such compounds exhibit a center of symmetry. So in the center of symmetry, what you need to remember that chloro, chloro and chloro, these two are the identical group. Hydrogen and hydrogen, these two are the identical group. Similarly, this hydrogen and this hydrogen is identical group. So overall, center of symmetry is exhibited by the molecule containing the identical groups. So you can observe that this is identical Cl, this is also identical Cl, and this will be the center of symmetry. Why? Because the distance between this center and this identical group, the distance between this center and this identical group is same. So this is about the center of symmetry. And one more is called improper alternative axis of symmetry. Otherwise, what we can call it as a uh, improper axis of symmetry. So what will happen? A molecule is rotated, and then rotation followed by reflection. If it is gives a indistinguishable from the original compound, such compounds are exhibit alternative axis of symmetry. See, for example, I will take. So what is alternative axis of symmetry? It's also called as improper axis of symmetry, and it is also called as rotation followed by reflection. So rotation followed by reflection is the process. Say a molecule as when a molecule is rotated and reflected, if it is gives a indistinguishable from the original, such compounds exhibits alternative axis of symmetry. So if you are looking into the example, so here I am taking one minute. Okay, right. So you can observe that this type of molecule, okay, what you can observe, COOH here, COOH here, phenyl here, phenyl there. And this, when this is rotated to 180 degree, okay, what will happen? You can get a compound like this. So now tell me here, so initially there was a COOH here, now it is here. Initially there was a phenyl group here, now it is here. Similarly, initially there was a COH here, now it is here. And these compounds exhibit improper axis of symmetry or alternative axis of symmetry. And it is called S2. S2 means 180 degree. Overall, 2 indicates 180 degree, 3 indicates 120 degree, okay, and then 4 indicates 72 degree. How you can get 360 by 2 180, 360 by 3 120 degree, so 360 by 4, like that you can account the rotation. So this moiety is exhibits improper axis of symmetry of 2 S2. It's called S2. So similarly, what you can observe that this is the one moiety I am taking it. Of course, this is called as a method of representation of Sahar's method. I will discuss more about this in a later slides. So what you can observe here, COOH group here, and here one COOH group down. Okay. So when this is rotated to 180 degree rotation, okay, otherwise what you can say that you can take this here what you observe COOH in the down. Okay. And here, what you can observe, COH group in the above. So when this is rotated, 180-degree rotation, what will happen? This COH, so 180-degree rotation means these two groups, okay? So it will rotate like this. So the arrow mark is there, no? It will rotate like this. So what will happen? When it is rotating, H will come over here, OH will come over here, and COH will come to the top. That's what happened here. So 180-degree rotation, there is a changes. So similarly, here this moiety also there is a changes. So OH and H will come down, COH is going up. That's what in this case. Okay. So overall 180-degree rotation means after this what you can this indicates that a center of more particularly improper axis of symmetry or alternative axis of symmetry. So what you can observe, what you can find the difference between these two. So this moiety when it is S2 rotation. S2 means improper axis of symmetry. So it will rotate like this. That means COH is coming up. OH is come over here. Okay, H will come over. Similarly, here rotation means COH will come over here. OH will come this side. H will go that side. So this is about the S2 axis or improper axis or alternative axis or rotation reflection axis. So now tell me, is there any doubt in the plane of symmetry, axis of symmetry, and then improper axis of symmetry or center of symmetry? So why we have to discuss all these things? So it is possible to frame two questions on this, either 2 marks or maybe on the 5 marks. That is the one thing. And one more thing also is important. So when we are going to say about the stereochemistry, whether the compound exhibits stereoisomers or not, then in such cases, one we should check that whether the compound is uh, dissymmetry or not. So then what is dissymmetry? So if you want to say that a compound is dissymmetry means that compound should show the absence of plane of symmetry, center of symmetry, improper axis of symmetry. So such compounds are said to be dissymmetry. So one of the criteria for a compound to exhibit optical activity means the compound should show a dissymmetry. Dissymmetry means there should be an absence of plane of symmetry, center of symmetry, improper axis of symmetry. That is the thing you need to remember. For that reason, we discussed all these points. Symmetry. Symmetry means again it's a physical parameter and it is done by doing operation. Okay, so that is the thing you need to remember that. So again, operation means it's a geometrical parameter either by line or degree. Okay, that is the thing you need to remember. Okay, now tell me, is there any doubt in plane of symmetry, center of symmetry, improper axis of symmetry? Because next onwards, I will take a different concept. Hello? Hello? Am I audible? Hello? Hello? Am I audible? Hello? Okay. So what I will do? So with this, I will go to the next slide. So here I am taking the few more examples. So this moiety will have a C3 rotation, and this one will have a C6 rotation. Okay, what you can C6 means again here you need to account that principal axis and then secondary axis. So this one will be the principal axis and all other things. This one and this one is the secondary axis. Okay, and if we are looking into this moiety, this is the one exhibiting a C2 axis of symmetry. Okay, this is the one is exhibiting C2 axis of symmetry, and similarly this also exhibiting C2 axis of symmetry. So this moiety also is exhibiting C2 axis of symmetry. So this is the one is exhibiting C3 axis of symmetry. Okay, this also exhibit C2 axis of symmetry. Okay, and here what you need to account it. So one should be the principal axis, other this one as well as this one is the secondary axis, whereas this one is the uh, primary axis. So primary axis means is the one which passes through a more number of elements in a molecule. And what you can found, so this is again in this naphthalene, it exhibits a C2 axis of symmetry. Okay, and this one is the principal axis. Okay, so these are the few examples of symmetry one, and where we can account for the axis of symmetry, plane of symmetry, center of symmetry, and then what is called as improper axis of symmetry. So with this, I can go to the next slide. So next slide is about the methods of projection of molecules. So methods of projection of molecules. So here the four kinds are there. One is Fisher projection formulae. So this one is the Fisher projection formulae, and this one will be the Newman projection formulae. Newman projection formulae, and then this one will be the Sahar's projection formulae, and one more is the flying wedge. Hello, hello,
Yes, sir.
am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now tell me, shall I go to the methods of projection of molecule? Is there any doubt in the symmetry operations or symmetry elements? Hello? Okay. Maybe if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the on later stage also. Okay. Maybe what I will do, shall I stop at this stage? Hello? 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 Shall I stop at this stage?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I will, maybe I will share the notes in your mail box. Just you look into that, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Is it okay? Okay, then you can log out.
Sir.